Welcome to the Raj Kotecha Show, #1 podcast in Dubai, and it is a brand new episode of ALGO, which stands for a lot going on. What we learned last week when we launched this show is that we don't need to really fanny about too much. We just put the things that we talk about in the show notes. If you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and if you're watching on YouTube right now, you should have a overlay with all of the timings, and of course everything's chaptered up. So go into the description of YouTube and jump to whatever you feel is relevant to you. But for those of you who are watching for the first time, ALGO is just an insight into what's going on in my life, what's going on in the agency's life, things that we've been doing this week. Joining me as always is Alex.
What's up?
I put you before Vic.
Right?
And you said as always, like that you're basically assuming
As
that
always,
he's always going to be on the show.
As always for ALGO, because
For
he was
ALGO,
technically on the first one.
exactly.
Yeah. And,
I'm the main guy.
and what time is it?
It is 11:05.
So Vic is here.
Right? Part timer.
Yes. I got you 5 minutes ago.
Okay, so again, let's get into the agenda. What's the first thing that was happening?
So Lovesoul Party
Was amazing.
Yes.
Let's go over the numbers on that. I set the guest list at 200. I was very shocked to find that all 200 were gone.
Yep.
Shocked and upset because really I should have probably set it at 300. An incredible party, Papa, which was, busy from kind of the beginning. How do you think the video footage went?
I think it went all right. It was pretty good. Followed Vik around for a bit. Followed you. Got some videos of you guys DJing.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be reviewing that this weekend. Vic DJ'd.
Yeah.
How many sets did you do?
I think three full sets. So one was a warm up, which was like a rusty warm up.
For sure.
Very rusty warm up. But towards like the back third of that, I started to get into it. And when you came on for your kind of quote unquote warm up set, I said to you, I feel kind of loosey-goosey. My two like main party sets, I definitely played it safer. I played stuff that I knew would work.
You picked up where you left off last time.
Basically, yeah. Well, no, at your birthday, I was a bit more risky. This time, I was a bit more safe. And yeah, it worked. Like everyone knew the records. I played a little bit more commercial type stuff. A little bit less love soul-y than I would have liked. A bit more kind of mainstreamy. But I felt like that was the right thing to do at the time, and you got to just do that.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who came. We could not even begin to shout out all the people that came along to the event. But if you came to Lovesoul at Papa, amazing. Alex, if anybody's watching the video, just grab some of the stills that the team have sent over, and let's just overlay them right now so that people can see themselves looking just fabulous. A lot of people put in a lot of effort, dressed incredibly well. And then this afternoon, we have a debrief meeting with the team at Papa. So we're going to head over there, all three of us, in a few hours, and we'll talk about that on next week's ALGO as to what we all felt were some of like the pros and cons. But overall, I'm just very grateful that really what I was saying to Vic last week was that the last 2 weeks, or the 2 weeks heading into Lovesoul at Papa, did feel like a holiday for me, even though we've got the 4-piece to launch in February. The going from Fam Jam to that and just being in promoter mode for 3 weeks, like the week leading up to Fam Jam and then the 2 weeks in between with Papa, just allowed me to like get back to like 18-year-old energy, creative, resourceful, and then but plus with Instagram and SMS and WhatsApp. So it's just amazing to see to promote a party from the ground up and see it go super well. So shout out to the team at Papa. Also, the food there is excellent.
Yeah,
amazing.
We didn't get time to eat it like at the pace
we didn't get to enjoy it.
Yeah, we enjoyed it,
but it was.
We were eating. It's like when you're listening to a podcast on 2x speed.
Yeah, literally.
We were eating at 2x speed. But that was incredible. And big shout out to 1800 Weirdo for the graphics at the back. They were so popular. I think if you're following this artist at 300 followers, you should be screen grabbing it. I think I followed Kendrick at 12,000 followers on Facebook when Facebook was like the place. And I still have a screen grab of that somewhere. So yeah, I think that the graphics that she put up, these are NFTs that are currently being displayed in galleries all around Dubai. They're available to buy on OpenSea, and we were the first DJs that I know of that had an NFT display wall behind us DJing. So just continuing to break boundaries. I think most DJs aren't even aware of thinking like that, but I'm glad by the fact that that's going to be timestamped, because we do just think, way in advance of where most people are.
And super talented, like super creative, super talented stuff.
Every graphic worked. Oh man. Yeah, we'll throw
I'll
throw
put
some of them up. Yeah,
I'll put some up.
From the video. Cool. Okay, next.
Getting micros out on time.
I think. Are you looking at me, huh?
No. Listen, you were just in my line of sight. I like this topic.
Yeah, Alex, you built up I think for the first time in my whole life, I actually have multiple micro clips to put on my phone at least a day in advance. I think that's soon going to become a week in advance. And the micros have been doing incredibly well. Followers have continued to go up on my Instagram. We're now probably going to be pushing 4,400. I actually don't know how many followers I've got, but I know that we're fast approaching the mid 4,000s. All organic, incredible. I deleted a few more hundred people from my Instagram, which wasn't great because a few people DM me and be like, you unfollowed me. But just sometimes between transitioning from the app where you're being told someone's not following you and then being on the account where they actually are and some weird stuff. So for anybody who, I apologize for anybody who I unfollowed by mistake, but you know, 1 or 2 strays are going to happen in 1,200 unfollows. Going to continue to do that until we get below 3,000.
So I have a quick question on getting micros out on time for you, Alex.
What's up?
What's the trick
of getting micros out on time?
Like what's
got to be time with me.
Yeah, Lee, just time with you.
Well, what's the actual number one trick, do you think?
Having a proper format in place.
Yeah.
Just something that I get timestamps from Raj, and directly I have a format to put it into Final Cut. And
so for those who don't know what micros are, when I put out long form videos, there are moments of 30-second runs or 1 minute or 2 minute runs of just greatness, which we slice out. We put a header on top, 1 or 2 lines that explain what it is. So when you're scrolling from the bottom upwards on Instagram, the first thing you see is the headline. Then you've got the video content in the middle, and in some cases you've got subtitles as well. So they're the micros, which is the reason why you've just seen a massive explosion in the amount of content on my Instagram, which will soon be that plus TikTok plus YouTube and everything that Andy K taught us about. Big up Andy K, to get out. Or we already knew about it, but obviously he put the battery in my back to get it done. So a lot more micros.
Yeah, the biggest trick is just to have a bunch ready.
Ahead of time. Yeah, true.
So a bunch of micros, whether they've been in raw format or whatever, know what the hooks are, know if they're going to have subtitles, know what the cover photos are going to be, and then you can just put it through a bit of a production line, a bit of a factory, and then we're ready to go. And getting 1 day in advance, then getting 2, then getting a week in advance. Yeah, that's the
important.
trick.
Yeah.
Cool. Next.
Cool. Schedule, then reset schedule.
Oh, goodness. So we spoke about
meetings,
this. We spoke about this recently. So like what I've decided to do, and there's going to be strays in this, but if I don't do some of this stuff, then I'm going to end up taking all the load for meetings and people that want to spend time together. And today, the last 3 days, I've had like a really bad stomach. And so a week ago, I spoke to Vik about my schedule, and I said that what we're going to end up doing, and this is for everybody who's listening who wants to spend time, is that probably 1 in 10 things will get rescheduled as it stands at the moment. So apologies to the couple of people today that when I woke up, I was just too sick to meet them. But yeah, if we're going to schedule something, please, at least for the rest of the year, there's a chance that things might get rescheduled just whilst we try and figure out what our rhythm is and what's important. And once we, take value from the meetings that we have and put it into certain buckets, then that'd be another good thing. But speaking of meetings, we had a great meeting yesterday with Spencer Lodge, former client. It wouldn't be appropriate to say on this call what the meeting was about, but I think it will probably be announced in the next 7 days. But if you are into thought leadership and you follow like the Avengers of the world, the Tony Robbins, the Jay Shettys, the Gary V's, the Grant Cardones, it's none of the people that I mentioned, but it's somewhere in that kind of league.
Yep.
So be prepared to be very excited. CCA is going to be involved in a project on that front as well. Also, Alex, can you do me a favor? Can you grab one of the 4Ps mugs as well, please? One of the ones that's not printed terribly.
Yeah, and I'm happy for Spencer to be involved in those projects as well.
What do you mean?
No, I'm just happy that he's continuing to grow.
Oh, you said it like it was no authority thing.
No.
You were like, I'm happy for Spencer to be involved in his own projects.
No, as in that he's continuing to grow and continuing to do
it's amazing.
Amazingly big things and leveling up every single day.
What I liked about it as well is that we had we called up some of the members that have worked on his account before.
Yes.
And so we're putting the team back together for that. So that's really exciting. More announcements to come on that front. Speaking of announcements, we just had a phone call seconds before we went live on this capture. On this podcast capture. So we had a phone call from our friend Dan Greenpeace, who is just a super active events guy in this region, all across the region, DJ, friend to the stars. And he announced that that Russell Peters is coming back to the Middle East. 6th will be in Bahrain. 8th will be in Dubai. Dubai's Coca-Cola Arena. Guys, just go and do the Googling for that. You know, just figure out who's selling tickets and whatnot. The fact is, you know the name, you know the dates. Can't spoon feed you any more than that. But it's going to be incredible. We will definitely be there supporting.
Yes.
That's our guy. And anything that, the team needs, we'll obviously text them later on today and be like, yo, we're around. But yeah, go support Russell Peters at Coca-Cola Arena. There's no pitch really for that.
It's too easy.
But his new tour is killing it. He's
Yes.
done. I think by the time, all I will say is this: the Act Your Age tour, he's already got several shows under his belt. So if you go and see that tour, you know that it's probably going to be battle tested in a couple of really difficult comedy markets.
Yep.
And so by the time you see it, you're going to really enjoy it. So Russell Peters on tour, Act Your Age tour, 6th in Bahrain, 8th in Dubai. Make sure you go support him. That's the home team. Okay,
Cool.
next.
Update on Notion.
So where are we at on Notion at the moment?
So Notion, we engaged a consultant yesterday. She's going to start working on it in like this weekend and next week. And what we're starting with, we're going to use a phased approach. And what we're starting with is just making sure that things like production workflows are put in place and standardized with standard operating procedures and packing lists and things like that. So equipment packing lists, make sure we have a checklist for that. Standard operating procedures for things like booking guests in for podcasts, post-production, making sure that we know step by step what we need to do against brand guidelines and formats and things like that. So it's really just a tool, and we're just building out things we're building out things to make sure that we don't miss anything and we can scale the content that we're producing.
So ideal for any clients that want to come on board with a little bit more like complicated work, then we can kind of set that, sign it off on Notion first. Once they've agreed, once we've agreed, then whoever's working on that project, Alex, Yumi, or whoever, we kind of know according to that where it's going to be, which is good because content continues to become a little bit more complicated. Inside an Instagram video, there's certain parts of a video where you can show stuff and can't because of overlays. And these are just things that there's so much like due diligence. So we're going to start using that, becoming more and more organized, growing up as a business, which is nice. What's next on the agenda?
Update on the 4Ps.
Yes. So amazing thing about the 4Ps is that whole part of my brain is opened up again now. Back in relation to the gigs as well, I think the frustration of not feeling creative enough or not feeling challenged enough or not feeling pressured enough. You made this point before, Vic, which is that if you've not got enough going on, then whatever you have got going on just occupies the rest of the time. And so the last 2 weeks being ultra busy, like spending several hours a day working on gift boxes, working on the party, working on getting whistles and things like that, like stuff that really I know is not critical to the business. I'm very aware of it, but I wanted to do it. But I feel like it's like this, right? I feel like it's like there's a certain zone, when you skydive where you can pull your parachute. And you don't do it too early and you don't do it too late. For me, I'd much rather pull the parachute closer to the ground than at the beginning of the pull the parachute zone. And so I wanted to just have a bit more time free falling. It's got my adrenaline going. And I'd much rather like pull this off with 10 days than with 28 days, because now I'm just like, it's more of a challenge. You know what I mean? It's like, it's called a handicap, isn't it? Like you start with like, I want to start with more pressure. But I'm really excited about it. I mean, it's been so good because, and I know it's working because now when I wake up, as opposed to thinking about parties and distractions, I'm actually like seeing slides when I open my eyes in the morning. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be amazing when people see this slide. Like, this is so incredible. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So
we spent 30 minutes together on Zoom looking for horns last week. So essentially that's an hour of our agency time. We looked at I was just watching you do it on Zoom because we were doing something else and then we thought of horns. So we said, all right, let's look for horns.
I didn't even end up ordering them.
We didn't order them because
just
we
got
couldn't
whistles.
find
That
them.
was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because
2 weeks ago.
because our friend Sal, who when it comes to Love Soul at Papa, shout out to Nabila, Neda, Sal, everybody who helped out. We didn't forget anybody, did we?
No, I mean,
obviously Alex.
there's so many people. Yeah, there's so many people.
Too many people helped out, but we're really grateful to all you guys for helping out and supporting. And even if you raised awareness for the party, that's incredible. So so that's where we're up to with the 4Ps. It's all I'm thinking about right now. I'm having so much fun with it.
Good.
Oh, by the way, and mugs are out. So we have mugs. We don't have many, but we will figure out a way. We'll come up with a way to kind of, hand out 5 or 10 of those. But if you DM and ask for one, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to give you one because there's still a few clients that need them. But once we figured out which clients we need to hand them out to, if we've got any spare, then we'll figure out something, maybe just on ALGO, not even on the main Raj Kotecha podcast. If you're following this subset of podcasts, you might get a chance to win a mug. Okay, next, sorry.
Nana's Whiskey Night.
Shout out to Nana. Nana Coppertone, I believe is his Instagram.
Got it, I missed it.
Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah.
And shout out to Christian and Vlad and the whole team at the St. Regis Bar here in Business Bay. Probably the best bar in the city. The best bar in this part of town, for sure.
It's a beautiful bar.
Always love when you walk in there. I love the energy in there. We've done a couple of things in there already. We're definitely going to do more. But yeah, our friend Nana did an event with Rydal, which is the glasses, and that was really cool. They put the same whiskey. They gave us a generous shot of whiskey, and then we put dashes of that whiskey in 3 different glasses. And depending on the curvature of the glass, the whiskey tasted different. Who knew?
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Were you there, Alex?
No, I wasn't there.
Real sophisticated stuff. So I went with my boy P. Shout out to P, Candice, and Sal. So thank you for them for keeping me company. We had a good old time. So yeah, big shout out to Nana, and he's got something called the Hostmasters.
Yep.
And he's part of the My Friends Your Friends community, and just really one of our like close dogs. So like shout out to him. He's tagged up in the show notes. If you want to do anything in the F&B industry, he's the guy to go to. Especially if you're coming to the city and you want to meet people in the industry, he's the plug.
Nana's super active, always doing something creative, always doing things like this, and he's definitely someone to follow.
Yeah, cool.
Response to the gift boxes.
The responses were incredible. I couldn't believe it because, you and I went and started delivering them around the city. Alex was with me, dropping them off at places where I couldn't pull over the car, like in this part of town. And almost immediately, like people started posting it on social media. I kind of felt like we were giving away like rare Jordans because like all the influencers in the B2B community, a lot of our clients and stuff like that started posting it. So yeah, everybody who got one, I'm really grateful. I'm happy to announce now what was inside the box now that people have seen it, which is some incredible coffee from Spring Valley, which is a roastery in Nairobi, which the whole city of Nairobi is going crazy for.
Yeah.
It's like the signature coffee of the city. My brother-in-law Wes brought me some last summer. I tried it. I was like, wow, this enters the league of coffees that I really like. And then I went to Spring Valley, searched it on Google Maps, had the Uber take me there. And I was like, where is this coffee shop? And I was expecting it to be like, a big barn with like a roastery inside and people working and separating the beans and all that kind of stuff and just fields of caffeine gold where the coffee is being grown. Nope, not at all. It was literally a cafe in the back of a petrol station.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I went inside there and I was like, this is Spring Valley, like this is your HQ. And they were like, yeah. And then the owner, who turns out I have mutual friends with, actually took me into the roastery area, which was just like a partitioned area behind the counter where there was a machine which was maybe 7 or 8 foot wide. And that machine has birthed 5 top brands in Kenya. Cool. And then one of them is Spring Valley. And he allowed me to take a little bit of video footage of like all the beans like drying out and whatnot. He said no video footage of the side of the machine because that's where the configuration is of the temperatures and pressures and whatnot. But yeah, super dope. So if you got a bag of that, amazing. Those guys were supposed to be here for the World Coffee Awards. They couldn't make it, but they will be here for a future one. So shout out to Spring Valley for doing us an incredible deal on the coffee. You're not normally allowed to export that, but they hooked us up. And then the mugs as well.
2 mugs and a balloon.
Yeah, and a balloon. The balloon was just to stop stuff moving around because me, Einstein, professor of physics over here, got a box which was double the size of the gifts that were inside. So to prevent myself from looking cheap, we just put a big orange balloon inside the box, and now that kind of stopped everything from bouncing around. Okay, cool.
Next is photos coming soon. I don't know what that is.
Papa's photos?
Papa photos.
Okay.
Where should we put the Papa photos?
It's a good question.
It's a real question.
That is a real question.
Plan, produce, and then now we're on publish.
So one thing that we said earlier, we'll put it into. We'll like put some B-roll like of some
right now
images on this, so you'll see those. I mean, I don't think. I mean, we here's what we could do is we could choose, some of our favorite ones and just publish them onto our stories. That's one way of doing it.
True.
But where can they live if we want them to live online?
I think we're just going to send everybody a Dropbox link.
Yeah, that's
we've got everybody's email address who came to the party. It's like, here's all the pictures. Help yourself.
Yeah. Or even post a link to it on your Instagram with put the link to the Dropbox on your Instagram story.
Or Squarespace, I believe, has a gallery feature.
Yeah, we can do that.
So I could put it in the galleries. So remind me, like we need to check how much memory we've got on Squarespace to do that. That could be a really good place because I want people to be able to download them full res. People looked incredible. What was Homeboy's name who was taking the pictures? Do you remember?
I didn't actually meet him formally.
I met him.
So
he did a great job.
Yeah, he was very good.
Yeah, he was super talented.
He was like,
there's some really good pictures.
It was really good.
And it wasn't like the typical corny Dubai thing where you've got the hula hoop with the LEDs on it. He did a real good job. He made people actually look really beautiful. Yeah. So I mean, they were beautiful, but he did it in a way that actually didn't make them less beautiful by saturating them out. So we'll get his name and we'll give him a shout in a future episode. So photos from Lovesoul at Papa coming soon.
Next one, Amongst Few Vegan Barbecue.
Coming up this Sunday, which is the 20th. If you want to hang out, come to the Amongst Few Barbecue. Website is amongstfew.com. On the first panel, on the first page, you can sign up to their barbecue. It's a Google form. You can obviously just pull up on the day if you want to, but do fill in the Google form if you can, because then they can stay in contact in the future and they can also plan their food accordingly. So I don't go out to many things, but I always go and support Amongst Few because I think they're incredible and I wear their clothes all the time. And it's going to be a great opportunity for anybody in the city who couldn't come to Lovesoul at Papa or anything else we've been doing or on a daytime vibe to come meet me. Are you coming?
Family friendly. I'm bringing my wife and my son. Yeah,
okay, cool.
Definitely.
I'm going to be in Abu Dhabi.
Okay, so me and Vik will be there. So come
Wait,
and hang
what
out
time
with
is
us.
it at?
From 4 till 8.
Sunday.
Yeah. Just
Who
pull up.
knows?
Just
Yeah,
come straight from Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alex might be there as well.
I might be there later though, not from 4.
Yeah.
I might come at like.
Okay, so you
we'll
might
see.
catch all
What
three
time
of us there.
specifically?
I don't know.
He's Swiss.
Cool, but listen, it'll be a vibe. It's always a vibe with them, and I'm glad that it's family friendly. It means I can bring my kid and have a good day. And it's a vegan barbecue, and the menu looks amazing. Would you believe?
Vegan barbecue.
How are you going to feel about a vegan barbecue?
We'll have to see.
You're going to bring some beef jerky.
Next one is Super Bowl.
What, so everyone's seen the performance in full?
Oh,
Yes.
performance-wise, yeah, I saw it. Like
What do you
actual, it was a good performance.
For everybody except for 50 Cent.
Yeah,
I wasn't so keen on 50's performance.
50's performance
But
was
I
good
mean-
and the production was incredible.
The
but
production
I
was
mean,
amazing.
It was
I
a
just-
bad
like how
choice
he
coming
is,
down
I
upside
think.
down.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like that actually set him up a little bit wrong because I get obviously why that was the case, but it just felt like then the rest of the performance was a bit tired and a bit flat. I didn't really like his performance. I like 50, don't get me wrong. I just didn't like that specific performance. I think Mary smashed it.
Yeah, Mary
M was
smashed
just
it.
M being M.
yeah.
But Kendrick was the one from
Kendrick was a whole
Kendrick was
NFT.
good.
Yeah.
Like he just murdered it.
But I also feel like Kendrick probably did that. Not probably did that, but did that because, you know, we're talking about upper echelon, and then Kendrick obviously is in that conversation, but he's still young compared to the other guys. So
He's young compared to the other guys, but his artistic and creative choices are not dissimilar to Andre 3000 at his age. So it's not if he became abstract very, very quickly.
yeah,
And he's just remained there. Same as Andre 3000. He early in his career, he decided to become an abstract artist, which means that you're not just going to like press it and get it.
so I guess my point is that he didn't hold back because he was with like Dre and Snoop or whatever. He it's almost like he went more. He's like, I have to play at the same level,
But
as
he-
the
he-
perceived
as-
kind of level of the rest of the guys.
He's also not a G-Funk artist.
Sure.
So Dre and Snoop are going to be a lot more like G-Funk orientated and like rider music up until like 2001. Mary and 50 had the club records.
Yeah.
M is just going to be rapidy rap. And you know what song he was going to do. He's of course going to do Lose Yourself. And I think that's what made Kendrick stand out even more, because if you would say like, what's M going to do? You could almost predict that he's going to come out with a cap, his hood up, and he's going to be like, he's going to do the whole like frustrated teenager aesthetic, you know, you dad kind of thing. You'll have to take the F word out of that one. And you know, Dre and Snoop are always going to be cool.
Yeah.
Mary's going to bring that soul.
Yeah.
50, no one had any idea. That was funny. I thought it was a weird choice though, that they had like almost like containers, shipping containers, which were nice. But that set could only be shot from the front.
one
and
side, yeah.
And imagine you bought tickets for the other
For the
side,
other side.
and you
Yeah, I
only
don't know, it's a
consumed it
bit
on a
weird.
screen.
Yeah, you'd be gutted.
Yeah.
I like the production. The dancing was great. The dancers were cool. Like I thought the whole production was,
everything
was
is
smart. It was very
very
good. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought
overall,
it
it
was
was a
great.
good
Overall
performance.
good. What do you reckon? Did you know these records? Like, did you know like
Yeah. Except for the Mary one. But
which
the others,
Mary one?
the first one.
Family Affair.
Family Affair.
Yeah.
You didn't know Family Affair, but you knew
He wasn't
no
in the
more-
clubs on that record as
Yeah.
well.
But
He's
you
not been in the clubs
knew-
yet.
Yeah,
period.
right?
Until this
She
internship.
did No More Drama, right?
I
Did
didn't know
No-
either of her.
You didn't know
records,
either of
no.
her
No, he
records.
won't.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
He's not had
But
a
all the
breakup
rest
yet
I
like
knew.
that.
Everything else I knew.
I thought No More Drama was a different choice.
I'm glad.
Like, I
I'm
don't
glad.
know. I thought it's a great record.
I think based
but-
on where America is now, I think that was probably the choice of the record.
Yeah.
It was probably meant to be like it's been a tough, post-Obama, it's been tough. So I think that's the reason why No More Drama worked. And it definitely, the thing is, what you got to remember about Dre and that whole team is how close they are to Jimmy Iovine, how close they are, like they're part of the Apple machine. Those tracks were chosen based on data. Instinct, of course, because people know those records.
Data,
Data would have driven No More Drama. There'd have been something about that track that when they surveyed people, they'd have been like, this will resonate the most. And We Gonna Be Alright as well, really. If you look at No More Drama and We Gonna Be Alright, they're kind of coming from the same energy.
Place, yeah.
So great performance. We don't know anybody on that team. Oh, actually, I found out that, I'll talk about this in a future episode.
Okay.
But I've got a friend, I've actually got a very good, well, let me talk about it in the future. I'll share a Dr. Dre story in the future. Okay, next.
But big shout out to those guys. So how are we approaching the Raj Kotecha Show release schedule?
We are going to approach it, for the time being, for those of you who are following the podcast. I know it's been a bit erratic. We can go months, not months, but we can definitely go weeks without putting out a podcast. We've got a bit of a backlog, and because the focus has been on putting out a lot of micro content, essentially we're just going to drop as soon as it's ready. So in some cases, you might get 2 or 3 podcasts in a week that are all like long podcasts, like this one or conversations. And in other cases, you'll get ones which are, there might be a couple of weeks between them. But we'll try and do it ALGO every single week because every single week is that busy. Coming up on the show, we've got a really great concept for a podcast, which is called Office Hours. A friend of ours, Joe, is also in the event space. She jumped on a Zoom call with me. And the reason why I wanted to put the Zoom call out is because depending on what I can help with and different industries that I play in, if you need help and you want to have a conversation with me, you've really got 2 options. One is kind of like send me a voice note and I'll send you a voice note back, and it's very like non-committal and sporadic. Secondly is if you want to set up a time and you want to go really, really deep in terms of questioning, like 30, 40 minutes, bring all of your questions. We will record it. We will put the video footage out, and we will archive each of those questions and each of those answers so that the next person who comes along like you, who wants to ask a question that's already been asked by you, can get access directly to the answer. And then that means that saves me time, and also actually more importantly saves the person time, because they don't need to then be sat at a Zoom to talk to me and go back and forth to be like, he's already answered it. So a lot of people, I've done that before. Shout out to my boy Sid. Sid had me over at his studio to do a talk about coming to Dubai, moving to Dubai. And he asked so many great questions. And so when people want to know about coming to Dubai, I just flick them that video over. So if you want to take part in Office Hours in the future, if you want to talk about marketing, branding, content, strategy, business, entrepreneurship, events, celebrity, deal making, what else?
Anything of that world.
Anything in that world. You want to have a conversation with me, with Vic, with either of us, both of us, whatever, let me know. We'll set up an Office Hours, and then you can have that call and we'll just share it with the world. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. That's everything.
All done.
Nothing else.
That was everything on the list. I think we covered a fair chunk.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex is going to edit this and have it out in 15 minutes. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you give us a 5-star rating on Apple and Spotify, because you can do that on Spotify right now. Please don't miss the opportunity to do that if you've got the opportunity. If you are listening on Spotify, YouTube crew, subscribe, like, comment, share this content wherever you get it with whoever needs it. It'd be super appreciated. I know that the algorithms are watching the WhatsApp crew that are forwarding direct links to the show. It's very, very much appreciated. And I think we will catch you next week on ALGO. How was the first episode for you?
Yeah, Vic? Good. Just getting used to the format, but yeah, it's cool, man. This is basically like a conversation that you and I would have kind of anyway, but just a bit more snappy.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Alex, enjoy this weekend in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you.
We'll see you amongst you on Sunday,
hopefully. Yeah.
With his beef stock in a pouch.
I'll go to the bathroom.
Exactly. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you in the next episode.